Kia ora, ko Rachelle Martins tōku ingoa. I am a lecturer at the RTRU and here to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a physiotherapist by training, worked for about 25 years in neurological rehab, mainly brain injury and stroke rehabilitation, and in all sorts of service contexts, right from very acute services through to long-term, what's called slow stream rehabilitation. I loved working with people and their whānau and support systems to explore what living a good life looked like, whilst also living with the enduring consequences of injury or illness. So now I have two roles actually. Point 5, I work for the RTRU as a lecturer, so that involves some postgraduate teaching in terms of courses, also PhD and master's supervision. I do some research and then I'm also involved in the Burwood Academy Trust. So I do Point 5 work there as well as a researcher and knowledge translation lead there. So overall, what would I say my interests are? I teach REHB 701, which is the rehabilitation principles paper. And I also teach REHB 704, which is the neuro rehabilitation paper. But what my passion is supporting disabled people, including tangata whaikaha Māori, and those living with long-term health conditions to live well and flourish across the whole of their lives, being able to live in the way that they want to, making choices that work for them, meet their needs and aspirations. And so there's a few areas that I focus on around that in terms of my research and my teaching interest. One is around creating a more enabling society. So it's about changing the way things are done within a society as a whole. And so a significant project I'm involved with at the moment is exploring how disabled people, including the tangata whaikaha Māori, can more meaningfully contribute to policy decisions that impact on them. So that's just one example. I'm also involved in research that is around using sort of evaluating interventions and programs, specifically to understand how we can improve access, experience and outcomes for people who need to use those services and programs. So I sort of use participatory, realist approaches to evaluation, where the knowledge about how the service or intervention can be improved is kind of embedded within the research process itself. And that kind of links into another area, which is working with disabled people or people with long-term health conditions to actually co-design services that meet their needs and aspirations. So very much including the voices of disabled people and people that have specific healthcare needs in how services work. And then the fourth thing is kind of probably more around the intersection between healthcare provider attitudes and behaviours and the responses of people that are providing the services to. So the ways that we as clinicians and providers can act and be in the space that we can create that actually allows people to respond and engage positively and get the most out of those services. So methodologically, I'm really interested in realist approaches, which really seek to understand what works for who in which contexts, rather than just does it work. So exploring the mechanisms of action that and in what context those are activated. I'm also got a real interest in probably more qualitative research, listening to and prioritising the voices of people who experience services and also want to live well. And I have done some work around obviously evaluations, but different methods, sort of a mix of methods within evaluations, including single case design and some quantitative approaches, mapping approaches that can give us some nuanced information about how things are working and for who. So if you've got an interest in any of those areas and you would like to talk further about postgraduate study or about master's and PhD opportunities, don't hesitate to get in contact. I love to have conversations about what's possible for people and what types of approaches could help them achieve what they want to achieve, whether it's via the RTRU or some other way. So yeah, don't hesitate to get in contact. Thank you. Mā te wā.